Bring in my next guest, Seth Schachner. He is Managing Director of Strat America. Seth, it's great to have you.
Good to be here. Good morning.
Now, this year's Super Bowl ads are packed with A-list celebrities, from Ben Affleck to Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey, actually, I think, was in 4 different commercials throughout the Super Bowl. So do you think that star power will drive brand impact, or are brands relying too much on big names over substance?
I think, it's a little bit of both. I mean, I thought broadly the ads were fun but kind of tame last night. They definitely, I think, moved away from hot stuff like politics and kind of, went on the lighter side for the most part. But yeah, and there were so many promos of shows and streaming releases as well. But the ones that did have big stars, I mean, the Billy Crystal one really stuck out to me in a big way for those who saw the original, Harry Met Sally in a delicatessen. I thought was great, and there was some spots with Beckham and Matt Damon, but I do think that the celebrity factor was probably a big part of kind of the traditional mix of what advertisers were trying to do this year, for sure.
I have to say that was one of my favorite Super Bowl commercials of the night, seeing, how Harry Met Sally reenacted there at Cat's Deli, a New York staple. But, as we're seeing a strong push for nostalgia marketing with ads like Pepsi's Challenge Revival, and Budweiser bringing back to the Clydesdales, why do brands keep on turning to nostalgia? And does it really resonate with the younger audience that's tuning in?
It's a great question. I mean, I think, look, the Super Bowl is the biggest night of the year for a lot of things, certainly for music as well. And, 110, 100, 115 million people are tuning into it. And I think it's meant to be a night that brings a lot of folks together. The NFL is on, I think, a different level with most brands in Madison Avenue than just about anything. Those ads are locked up at the upfronts, a long time ago. And there's a certain aspect of Americana and culture and our history that's in there. And I think you tend to see that, yeah, certainly Budweiser and some of the classic properties keep coming up. But even the stuff like Dunkin', I don't know if you can call that nostalgia, but it's certainly stuff that tends to bring people together. And I don't think that'll ever, quite frankly, go away. The thing that I think is interesting about these Super Bowl ads is that, it is a big, giant stage, and it's a huge opportunity to make an enormous impression. But a lot of the ad research shows that the ads actually resonate. They get engagement over time. People show up. They kind of like, particularly ones who aren't following the game, want to actually watch the ads like it's part of the show. And it can really be a very effective way to bring a brand into the market and get people to buy it or start using it. So it's got hidden effects that go on beyond just last night, and maybe the nostalgia helps that as well.
And from an investment standpoint, we've been covering a lot about the Super Bowl ads here on the show, just talking about, is it worth it? With the 30-second spots, Super Bowl spots are now costing upwards of $7 to $8 million. Do you think that investment is still worth it? And are brands getting the return that they expect, or could viral social media campaigns deliver a similar impact? What do you think?
I mean, I don't think there's anything quite like the Super Bowl from an American perspective. And it's also global as well. People stay up all night in Asia and Europe to watch it. So I think if you're a major American brand on Madison Avenue and you want to make the big splash, 100%. I think it's also interesting. Some of our biggest brands, Nike ran, I think it was the first time in 27 years, a spot with Caitlin Clark. And also, the NFL did promos around flag football and women's sports. So, I think that there are aspects of brand messaging, brand marketing that aren't purely just about ROI. And so this is the biggest stage you can do it on. So, I mean, 100% these things are sold out, so I don't think you can really argue with it.
And, on the topic of football, we're seeing a rise in athlete-led endorsements, with research showing that they drive about 2.5 times more engagement than traditional celebrity endorsements. Do you think athletes are becoming the new faces of brand marketing?
I hope so. I go to a lot of advertising events around the world, from Cannes to New York, and I think sports is an incredibly important part of the advertising mix. I see a lot of parallels with my industry of entertainment, and I think athletes have a very unique ability to influence younger generations. There were certainly some great spots around that, and yeah, I do, and I hope it's in a way that's more organic, and it's not just about taking a check and signing off on a product. And I thought that was pretty apparent last night. The stuff, even with Beckham, that came up was really cool and cut through some of all the advertising out there. So yeah, I think musicians and celebrities probably have some pretty strong competition out there as well now.
And Seth, we have about 30 seconds left here, but looking ahead, what emerging trends do you think will define Super Bowl advertising in the next few years? Do you think AI or interactivity or even metaverse will play a big role?
Well, if I look at it from last night, it was more about feel good and public service and public health and ads about cancer. And I think, there's a do good, feel good aspect, public health aspect to some of the ads we're seeing, as opposed to, soda or cereal. There were certainly some fun ones for that as well. But I think you're probably going to see Madison Avenue a little bit more responsive on that side, because I think there's so much advertising and media out there. It tends to cut through the clutter. So I was really encouraged by that.
Well, thank you so much, Seth. It's always a pleasure having you on the show. Seth Schachner, Managing Director of Strat Americas.
Great to be here.